Okay, so hi everybody. It's Amy of livebrazen.com, and I am here with my friends Jennifer and Peter Deep Stratton. They are the king and queen of extraordinary relationships, and you can find them over at FamilyCo.com. And Peter and Jennifer are amazing couple that I had the pleasure of getting to know through my business, a business group that I'm in. And I was really excited to bring them here and introduce them to my tribe, just because I'm really fascinated by relationships and the topic of relationships. And that's kind of their area of expertise. So I want to chat with them a little bit about this topic of relationships and how approval addiction and all of that ties in. And I know they've got some cool things that they've been working on, so I want to share that too. So let me just start by introducing them to you. So Jennifer comes from this corporate sales background for 10 years. She has been the one to resolve a lot of the communication breakdowns with customers. She knew from that background that she had this gift for the whole topic of relationships, and she was the one that was really called to communicate and sort of resolve and create partnership with teams in the corporate environment. And then Peter comes from this background of being a general contractor, 23 years. He was able to inspire and use a lot of his leadership skills there. And then between the two of them, they've created this amazing family unit where they have a 10-year-old son, a 15-month-old baby, a 26-year-old daughter, and then a 5-year-old granddaughter and a newborn grandson. And they say that if anyone has the experience and expertise to navigate that sometimes crazy, tumultuous water of family and romantic relationships, yet find joy, find satisfaction along the way, it's them. So I'm super excited to have you guys here.
Thank you. We're excited to be there. You be here. Hi, Amy.
So let's talk about, tell me a little bit about yourselves and how you came to create FamilyCo.
Well, this is my husband, Peter. As you said, that we're married. Originally, when we first met each other, actually, we both knew we wanted to really make a difference with families and with people's relationships. And as we were going through the process of getting to know each other and really interviewing each other, really in a sense, to see if we were a match for each other, we created that our relationship would represent something for the world, and that our whole family would be sort of a testing ground, if you will, for the things that we have in theory about relationships and communication and how to have a really thriving family. And we have so much passion for families being connected, no matter what your family looks like. If you're a blended family or divorced, or, we have divorced people living in the same homes. We have, married people living in separate homes. So things don't look the way they used to. And we really want to have people be connected and have the relationships they love, regardless of the circumstance that they're in. So that's how we came to start our company.
So how do you work with people to help them find that connection?
Do you want to answer that?
Gosh, I don't even know where to start. There's so many things we do. Go ahead.
Well, a big one is, what we put in our programs is there's really three fundamental pieces, but one of the big ones that is seldom addressed really is the way you see your relationship. And we all know, your mindset really determines what you can do. And people talk about, what's the difference between having a successful relationship and not a successful relationship. And we all know it's like, are you being appreciative? Are you being grateful? And but to do that, to actually be appreciative of what you have and not focus on what you don't have and what you wish was different, on a daily basis, it can be really challenging. So some of what we work with in our programs is really, what is that? What does it take to have that shift in how you see things?
So that's interesting because, a big part of my work, as you both know, is working with sort of helping people overcome their inner approval addict, for lack of a better way of saying it, but really embracing the other side of that, which is really about being yourself without apology and without being censoring. And I, just in my experience, I see a lot of that inner approval addict getting triggered in relationships where, very, very focused on the external, expecting that partner to, or family members, children even, to meet our needs, and not really giving to ourselves what we need, expecting to get it from our relationships. So would you see that plays out in your work, and how do you help your clients to deal with that?
Yeah, I mean, it's great that you bring it up in that way, as an approval, because if we can kind of peel back the layers a little bit, is we look at what relationship means to us, and there's a whole bunch of history, if you will, of how relationships are supposed to look. And I don't know about you, but as a little girl, I read fairy tales and I watched soap operas. So, it wasn't until I was, well into my adult years that I really saw what I thought a relationship was supposed to be like. And I was really living out some of those roles that I didn't even realize. And so much of our happiness, until you start to notice these things, so much of our happiness depends on, did the person play the role that they were supposed to go along with the role I'm playing? Right. And when they don't do it, it's incredibly frustrating. And so we change, I know for me, then I used to change what I was doing to get the approval of the other person, to make sure to try to get them to play their role. So it's sort of like this spiral of trying to get somebody else to do something so you can be happy, and trying to make them happy. And it's a mess. So we help people sort through all of that and get really connected with what they really want, and then create something that's big enough with their partner, whoever it is, whether it's a spouse or even a sibling or a parent, that gives enough room for both of you and for your relationship.
Yes, and it's interesting. We deal a lot with the fantasy that people have around relationships. There's this whole picture of, happily ever after. It's like, happily ever after what? Right. And we just deal with the fantasy, and then what we do is we base people in reality, and then we build relationships based in that reality.
Oh, that's...
And we have it be fun.
Yes.
Because it really is fun. Once a lot of the sort of dramatic story pieces of it go away, it's really just fun, and it's easy. Relationship is really is easy.
Yeah, that sounds amazing, and I love how you put that, Peter. And I'm all about having fun, and I know, sometimes when I've been in a relationship now we're going to be celebrating our 20th anniversary, and we definitely have our ups and downs, but, finding that space to be who you are. And I've really experienced that from being married so long. It's like you change and you shift and you grow, and then that space to be you, but also the space to be, together in a way, and how to sort that out, so to speak. So one of the things that people really have a shift in our programs is moving from what we call the I paradigm. We're very, me focused, to we. And a lot of times people think that when you get into a relationship, you have to sacrifice part of yourself or give up something or compromise. And we don't teach that at all. What we're really creating is we, which is a much bigger world in a sense, so that you can be you, and your partner can be your partner, but you're both heading towards the same direction. So for example, Peter and I have what we call our North Star, which is who we said we would be for the world. So we just look out there on the horizon and we think, okay, are we representing what we want to represent for people? Are we being true to what we want to be true to? And so the petty things that come up are really, they just pass very quickly, because there's this bigger game, if you will, that we're both walking towards, playing for. I have this question that I think could be really helpful for my people, because a lot of what comes up when you start to embrace who you are and get your needs met on your own, and you're in relationships with people, is that there's this fear of being selfish, or spending time on yourself is frivolous, or that somehow it's narcissistic to get your needs met, and that you're letting your partner down, or you're letting your family down. And that's kind of the other side of the coin. And so I'm curious what you have to say about that.
That's great.
That's great. One of the things we create is inside a we paradigm where, I'm here to make sure that I literally gave her my life. I am here to make sure she is well taken care of. And I ask questions and find out what she wants in her life, and I take care of her. And in the process, she's so enrolled in me taking care of her, she actually starts to take care of me. Mm-hmm. So it's this weird, it's kind of backwards, but we get our own needs met by taking care of the other person. Mm-hmm. And it's very interesting, because most relationships would find that when people in the relationship just for their own needs, it causes this downward spiral in the relationship, because everybody's out for themselves. When we're both looking out for each other, I am her biggest champion. Mm-hmm. It causes this upward spiral where we have this relationship. We call it, it's like sourcing each other, where I'm taking care of her, she's taking care of, she gives me things that I don't even know that I needed.
Okay, so what are you saying, that by being sort of the fullest expression of you, whether that's in line with the partner or not, yes, somehow that by supporting that, by supporting your partner in that endeavor and on that path, it becomes that person gets enrolled in supporting that person. So it's
absolutely okay. Yeah. I am the Jennifer's her wildest dreams come true in life, that she is fully self-expressed, that nothing gets shut down. Mm-hmm. Nobody puts baby in a corner. And that she's out there living her life wide open. Yeah. And that I take that as that's my job. Uh-huh. And I live for that. It gives me great pleasure to have her be completely self-expressed in life.
And whether that's convenient or what, like the same as you, or maybe at times does that ever cause you to, I guess I'm curious about when it's not in line with what your direction is, how does that play out?
Well, that's where the North Star is so important, because as a pair or even as a whole family, it really takes creating something that's a vision for your family or for your couple or even for your siblings that's big enough that you really, no matter whether I'm zigging this way and he's zigging that way, that we're all walking towards that same North Star.
So you guys are collaborating. You're creating that as a team, that North Star. Got it. So you've got a shared vision. Really is.
Yes, it's crucial. It's essential. It's we started that between us. We created this North Star, and then we rolled our kids and our family and everybody around us that's who we are in life. This is what we play for. This is what we stand for with each other. This is what we want to be for each other and the world. And whenever we're not that, it is, number one, painful. Number two, it always straightens us out. No matter what happens in life, no matter what hits us, we can always, great, we're having, life seems to be just taking us away right now. Let's get together and take a look. And we always look back to our North Star, and it always trues us back up again. Every single time.
That makes a lot of sense. So becoming your fullest expressed self, and then within that you have this kind of umbrella vision for your direction and path as a team.
Yes.
Yeah, like our 10-year-old son mows the lawn every Friday, and he, sometimes he rolls his eyes and he doesn't want to do it, but most of the time he's like, okay, and he runs out there. He can't start the mower by himself, so Peter goes out and pulls the cord, and then Dylan pushes it all around the yard, and the mower is bigger than he is. And we have it on safety mode, so he's not going to hurt himself, but he mows the yard, and he's so excited. He brags to his friends because he knows that he actually is contributing to the family in an important way, and it makes him feel good about himself. And so, if I just told him you have to mow the lawn, we wouldn't get that sort of happy anticipation. But since we've talked to him about our family, and he really sees that he does make a difference and that what he does matters. And so now now we're all on the same team.
You're all enrolled in the same vision. I love that. It's such a great example of how that works.
Yeah.
Well, so I know you guys have a quiz. Can you tell me a little bit about this? Because I'm a huge fan of quizzes. I just put up a quiz myself on my new website. So let's talk about this quiz.
Okay. So the quiz is called How to Tell If You're Fixing Your Partner and Possibly Making Things Worse.
Juicy.
Well, because that's what we find is like a lot of times communication, especially in couples, is it breaks down and people feel like they're getting fixed. I don't know if I should explain more about that. Does that make sense?
Yeah, say a little bit more about that.
Well, it'd be like me thinking that things should, like he should do something differently. Like down to any kind of detail, like the way he wipes the counter, the way he dresses the baby,
Apple crisp.
The way he eats. Oh yeah. A couple weeks ago, my friend brought over some apple crisp and she left it in the refrigerator and she told Peter, don't eat it. It's for Jennifer because he always eats all the dessert. Well, he eats most of the dessert. But the next day when I went to eat it, it was gone. He'd eaten it. He didn't realize I hadn't had any.
Uh-huh.
But, my first inclination is to be like, what's the matter with you? That was my apple crisp. And believe me, that thought went through my head.
Yeah.
So that would be a really perfect example of something that I want to fix and like get mad at him, try to figure out some way to keep him from eating it. And just like all of the criticism and anger and upset that goes along with things aren't the way I think they should be.
He should not have done it that way.
No.
Yeah. So make sure that he understands that in the future, that behavior is not appropriate.
Well, and the thing is, one of the things we talk about is why we get so upset. It's like, if my 10-year-old had eaten the apple crisp, I don't think I would have minded. Right? And I let the baby eat off my plate all the time. So what is it about him? Like, why is the expectation different? And why do I begrudge him the apple crisp? And so just to catch myself in that moment of getting upset and angry and just say, okay, is it really worth the upset and the anger inside their relationship over some apple crisp? Or do I get that it was an honest thing he did? He didn't intentionally eat it so I couldn't have any. He thought I had it.
Right. Right.
So you just kind of pull yourself out of the tailspin. Ooh.
All right. Well, that sounds very good. And yeah, I mean, that's a huge topic that is near and dear to my heart, is this idea of fixing things, this idea that we have to fix ourselves, that we have to fix our partners so that we can feel worthy, that we can feel whole, that we can feel happy. So I think that's going to resonate a lot. So tell me the name of the quiz again. There's actually going to be a link, or there is a link underneath this video, right? So we're linking to the quiz for you to take. So check it out. What's it called again? I'm sure probably the title's going to be posted as well. But
it's called How to Tell If You're Fixing Your Partner and Possibly Making Your Relationship Worse.
Yes, I love that. Well, I think that's awesome. And you guys have something else coming up. You're working on an event. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yes. So we are so excited. We're doing a 3-day live event in June. And it's called Relationships 202. And it's, to rediscover your natural capacity for being great at relationships and experience fulfillment, joy, and connection. So one of the things that we talk about, our philosophy is that we each really have a natural capacity to be great at relationships and to be connected. And that there's just, over time, there's just stuff that gets on top of that natural capacity, dirt, dust, schmutz. Yeah. And so that's what our event is about, is really just dusting off her natural capacity. It's not, it's already there, and I think a lot of times when we're trying to fix things in our relationship, we actually make those things worse. It's really the act of fixing it that creates it and makes it worse. And so what we're going to do is we're actually just going to dust off your natural capacity, and the things that you've been dealing with in your relationships or tolerating or haven't been able to figure out how to resolve, they literally just disappear in the process of being in a relationship.
I love that. And that resonates quite a bit as well. I'm thinking of that story about, I think it's Michelangelo, who talks about when he carves this statue, he starts out with this big block, this chunk of marble, and then underneath, how does he get to it? He's just taking away all the layers. I don't know. I don't remember exactly how it goes, but the beautiful statue is just right underneath that. So it sounds like. What's that?
I know this story. When asked how he created David out of that chunk of marble, he said, "I just took everything that wasn't David out."
Yes, thank you.
Ended up with David, and that's basically. Thank you so much for that. That is exactly what we do. Relationships are so easy and they're so natural for us, and then we add all this stuff and expectations and fantasy and all these other things, and that really complicates it. So what we do is, when Jennifer says we remove schmutz, we just take that stuff away, and then you're naturally left with how much you love people and how much you love being in relationship with them.
I love it. Well, I love you guys. I think it sounds amazing. I'm excited that my tribe gets to meet you, and thank you so much for sharing this quiz. It sounds really juicy. I wish you the best of luck in your event, and I will connect with you guys soon.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.